Welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where today's top influencers and entrepreneurs on the rise share empowering stories and ninja tips to become the fuel that ignites a positive change in your life. Our guests don't simply coast through life. They don't let difficult situations stop them. They set big goals, keep their eyes on the prize, and they're joining us today to share insider secrets you can use right now to step into your power and live your purpose. Now, here's your host, Christy Ruffino.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. I am Christy Ruffino, the host of the show, and I have the pleasure today of interviewing Kimberly Weitkamp. And Kimberly, she is a marketing strategist, a podcaster, and a conversion copywriter. Not a typical copywriter. She is a copywriter that helps you convert your audience into, I'm assuming, paying clients. She's based in St. Louis, and she serves an international clientele. She developed the audience conversion method to help coaches and consultants convert their audience from strangers to loyal fans. There you go. She brings this work to an international audience with her company, The Audience Converter. And she's also the host of the Audience Converter podcast. Imagine that. And that podcast is specifically designed to really serve community leaders. She's helped people increase their open rate by 80%, hit their first ever six-figure launch, and double conversions on their landing pages. All things I definitely need help with. She loves talking marketing, travel, and all things sci-fi. And when she's not working with her clients, she loves to travel and dance. And Kimberly and I were connected in a community that we're both a part of. And I know I reached out to her. She reached out to me. We had a couple calls. I look forward to getting to know her in the weeks and months to follow. And I know this is going to be a great episode, and I can't wait for you to meet her and see how awesome she is. So welcome, Kimberly, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Christy. I am excited to be here and to chat with you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, yay. I love reading introductions, or I love hearing introductions, but for me, reading them is a little challenging, but yours was nice and short and to the point and just really full of great accomplishments that you've done. So you have an incredible story, I'm sure, because I know you're very passionate about what you do. And I know you shared when we chatted a little bit about how you got into this field, but share with the audience, why do you feel so led to help them with their audience conversion strategies through really good content?
Yeah. So, my story is, I think, not necessarily unique, if you will, but I think all of us have a different story, right? We all have an interesting story to start our path to entrepreneurship. I didn't even know what it was. Let's be honest here. I graduated university, and we were in the last recession, so I didn't really have a lot of job opportunities. So I moved to Spain. I became an English teacher. And while there, I was getting into the world of travel writing. And I loved the idea of just being able to put words to paper and kind of inspire people to understand the value and the amazing transformation you can get through travel. But travel writing is fun and it's great and it's amazing, but it doesn't pay very well unless you're retired. So from travel writing, kind of stumbled into the world of copywriting and marketing and never looked back. I loved the idea of being able to help people just kind of get their message in the right place. And when I got started, I really was starting with this idea that, I loved to travel. I did a lot of traveling, and I would kept meeting people who were like, oh, travel is this thing that I would love to do, but I can't. And so my kind of goal when I got started was to help people get their message out there to showcase that travel was for everyone and that travel was possible for everybody. And I kind of started in the travel industry, and then from that transition to entrepreneurs. And while most people might think, well, that's a weird, different kind of journey to go on, for me, I was writing a lot for software companies that were in the travel space, because here were all of these little small hotels. They were these small companies that really wanted to make a big impact. And online, you can make that big impact without huge dollars behind you, right? You didn't need like a huge agency behind you anymore. And the process for that, though, was very long. It's like 6 to 18 months usually from the time someone hears about one of those companies to the time they're ready to work with them. And so they wanted help with, well, how do we keep people engaged? How do we keep people interested? And that's what I helped them do. And then I was kind of looking for a new opportunity. I was just looking for new clients necessarily. I had just launched a podcast. I went to a podcasting conference and I met so many amazing people. And I was like, these are my people. I want to work with these people because they are so they're so into what they do. They're so passionate about what they do. And these were all people who were very invested in their own businesses because it was their business. They weren't working for somebody else. It was them. It was their stuff. They wanted to promote them stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm making the transition. I want to help these people get their message out into the world and build amazing communities that make a huge impact, because I knew the power of using community and the power of having, other people doing the same thing I was doing to make a difference and to kind of navigate that path where you weren't on your own. So I kind of set out to help more people be able to do that, and that's where the audience conversion method came in. That was from my days in working in software and transitioned to entrepreneurs, and kind of that's my twisty, turny, curvy path, if you will, to doing what I do.
Great. Yeah, we all have a story. And honestly, our story is what drives us. Why are we so focused? I mean, as an entrepreneur, especially, there's a lot of things that will pull us in different directions, and there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of highs and lows. And we can get burnt out if we don't have that fuel behind it that's leading us with purpose. So I love hearing people's stories. I love to see the journey of how, you had gotten to where you are now, and just kind of what you're doing to serve your clients. And so, how long have you had the audience converter business kind of set as that's your official business?
Yeah, so I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary. You know when the great time to start a new business is? During a
Yeah, during
pandemic,
COVID.
apparently.
Yes, exactly. Um,
And that also ties back to just the power of community. I had just launched the Audience Converter podcast and the Audience Converter business about a month before everything shut down. And so I know the power of meeting people and getting in touch with people and connecting with people, because that's what drew and grew my business over the last year, for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, that says a lot because during the last year, we have all been inundated with emails and social media stimuli, and everybody's online, and you've been able to kind of leverage this opportunity, but by applying what you know to grow your business in a time when a lot of businesses are just shutting down.
Absolutely. And what I feel is that a lot of people look at it, oh, it was it's a blessing and a curse, right? So I had no network to speak of when I first got started because I was transitioning from an area that had absolutely no connections. But because everything moved virtually, because everything moved online, I was able to attend so many other events, and so many other opportunities came my way because everybody was online. So that was my opportunity to be like, okay, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to do this. And it was great timing as well, because, well, if I were still in the travel industry, I'd be struggling a lot more. So, the thing, it was up and down, right? Up and down. And I was just able to meet so many amazing people with this opportunity and going to more events online because we were in the online space.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're going to get into some very specific strategies that I know are just excited to share with our audience. But I want to kind of back up a little bit because you had mentioned that the focus of what you do with your business as well as working with clients through this content, through email marketing, through the different ways that you support your clients, it's all about building community.
Yes.
And I am a huge proponent of community. And, I started the Dynamic Professional Women's Network like almost 18 years ago because I recognize the value of community. We met in a community.
We did.
Yeah, I like, and I've been a part of programs throughout the years and have spent a lot of money just because I wanted to remain connected to that community. And yes, we need to do that with networking and creating these partnerships in business, but we have to do that when we're trying to build our prospect audience and our clients and the people that we work with. They can work with anybody, but when they feel like they're working with somebody that's kind of a part of their family, they know you from a personal level because your copy has allowed them to kind of get to know who you are. It's not dry copy. It's more like it's like shows somebody's personality. That is so important.
It is important. And, when I first got started in business, I had this idea that if it didn't matter, or it didn't count if I got help, right? I had this place in my head that just said, I have to do everything myself. I have to do it all alone. It doesn't count if I get help from other people, which is the complete wrong, right? Perspective to have. But it's something that I think a lot of us kind of hear again and again. Is that you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. It's all your stuff. And I was like, but there's so many other people out there that if I had just been open to the idea of getting help and getting support, and every time I said, okay, fine, I guess I'll join this community, I could see where my business grew exponentially every time. And so this last year, I went all in on building communities and being a part of communities and being an active part of the community, right? Not just oh, I'm going to join, but then I'm never going to like check in or do anything, right?
Or
It's
just
it's
show
what
up
you get
once
out
in
of
a
it.
while and expect, miracles to happen. No, you have to
Exactly.
invest. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I think that community building is one of the best business models because people want to stick around. As you said, right? You've spent so much money because you wanted to continue to be a part of a community. So it's a great business model, but it's also a great support network. My family still kind of doesn't really understand what I do. So when you're around other people who get it, who understand, who can say that's amazing, as opposed to, oh, is that a good thing? It's just such a transformative experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. And on an even deeper level, when you get a client through community,
Mm,
they're more likely to refer business to you. And who doesn't want to have a referral uh, as opposed to going out and getting another cold client or cold prospect?
absolutely.
So yeah, I've totally believe that I'm really focusing more on the community building business model with my marketing efforts and kind of shying away from a lot of the other things because it really creates that ongoing cycle of new people that come to you without you having to go out and hunt them down.
And that's kind of my whole approach to marketing is that so many people feel marketing is me having to create something, right? Even in the words, you'll hear the term lead generation. And that gives you this idea, this picture of you have to create, right? You have to generate leads. You have to like making power, right? You go to a power generation plant, you have to generate leads, which sounds difficult and hard. And I'm all about using your marketing to get in front of people who already want your help. And it's a completely
Absolutely.
different approach, and it ties back into the community aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Or need your help, right?
Need your help, yes.
Want your help
Want
and
your help
need your
and need
help.
your
They're
help.
desperate. And you have the solution to help them. So that's great. All right. Well, if you don't mind hanging on for just a few moments, we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we're going to come back. And I know you've got so many nuggets of wisdom you want to share.
Sounds great.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Overcoming Mediocrity Project. Are you ready to share your story in a life-changing book with other success-driven women? Then, what if you could use that book to get speaking gigs, podcast interviews, and possibly a new client or two? Wouldn't that be great? Well, watch out, chicken soup. Here comes Overcoming Mediocrity. Our proven system can transform your struggle story into a powerful signature message and then as one chapter in an Amazon best-selling book. Our process is simple and economical and it will bring a lot of eyeballs on you, your business, and your big message to the world. We welcome you to apply to join our project. Just visit us at overcomingmediocrity.org and click on the apply button at the top of the page. We'll see you soon. Well, hello and welcome back to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. I am Christy Ruffino and we are back with Kimberly Weitkamp. Kimberly,
Hello.
thanks for joining us again or coming back or hanging with us.
So excited. Hanging with you has been so much fun so far. I'm sure we're going to continue.
Yes, likewise. All right. Well, this may be a loaded question, but for me, I honestly despise email. I feel it's noise. It's like I hate having to go in my inbox. It's distracting. And it's just, I get like anxious when I think about having to send out emails. However, I know it's so critical. It's still one of those foundational elements that we absolutely need with our nurturing process and our client attraction process. So share a little bit about how we can stand out in the inboxes of our ideal clients.
Absolutely. So I just want to let you know, Christy, that you are not alone. A lot of people, right? We're all kind of experiencing inbox overwhelm. And that's because, right, as you mentioned, we're all online. We're all been online even more in the last year than we had been before. So people are like, well, it's even harder now to stand out. I heard an appalling statistic at the event that we met at. Someone's like, yeah, email open rates have dropped to like 8%. And I was like, excuse me? What are you sending? Was my first thought. And here's the thing, email is still the glue that holds it all together, right? Some people are like, oh, well, you have to be on XYZ platform, whatever platform that is. Insert your favorite platform. But the problem is that most of those platforms you don't control. You can't control the algorithm. You don't control how often your stuff gets in front of your people. You don't control your organic reach. If you're talking SEO, again, you don't control the algorithm that decides if your website's worth it or not to show.
To clarify, do you mean social media platforms?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure that that's the platform you're discussing.
Yes. Do you want me to start again?
No, that's good. No, that's
Okay.
good. Yeah, no, I just wanted, because at first I thought platform meaning like the email marketing platform. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was clear that we were clarifying for our audience that you meant the social media platform, because I know
Yes.
a lot of people that I talk to will say, I've got, 5,000 followers and all these things. And that's great, but it's not, as you're going to continue to explain, it's
Yes.
not where it is at.
Absolutely. So, I'll start again. So, I hear all the time, right? Oh, I've heard I have to be on this platform. Maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's LinkedIn. It's whatever the newest name is going to be. I don't even know. They're all going to come up with something even more interesting to hear. But here's the thing. You don't control your presence on those platforms. Even if you pay, you still don't control how often things can be seen and how often people can interact with your brand. And the very interesting part about it is I want you to think back to the process of signing up to one of those platforms. What did you have to do? You had to give them your email address. If you're on a course platform and you are promoting your stuff and you're like, oh, well, Udemy is going to do it for me, right? They'll promote for me. Well, how do people sign up? They sign up through an email address. So pretty much every other method of marketing that you can think of out there, if people want to become a part of it, they have to sign up with their email address. With email, you control everything. You send it out, it's going to make it into their inbox. Now, can you control your reader to make sure they open their inbox? No. But every time you send something, it's actually going to make it to everyone who has said, yes, I want to hear from you. So with email, it's this huge advantage you have where people have raised their hand and said, yes, absolutely, I want to hear from you. And they wanted to hear from you enough where they gave you their information related to, whatever you were talking about that got them onto your list in the first place. So it's a one-to-one conversation, right? It's one-to-one. People read an email by themselves. They're not reading it in a mass format. So it's a one-to-one conversation in a mass way. So you can reach a lot of people at once with a one-to-one conversation, and you control it. You have control over sending it, how often you send it, how often people see from you, hear from you, that kind of thing. So, email marketing is still the number one driver, if you will. And it's the only place you can guarantee that if you put out a message, somebody is going to see it.
Mm, absolutely. And part of what we're doing online with our presence and our website is to have a really, great lead magnet, they may call it, or your free gift when people sign up. And that isn't going to do you one bit of good if you grab somebody's email and then you do nothing with it. So you've got to have a really great strategy to be able to put your emails together in a way that's going to really make a difference and really help you with whatever it is, whether it's just nurturing them until you're ready, or you're trying to sell a product or a program. But I know there are different strategies for different pieces. So how do we stand out in a crowded inbox? Like, what do we do to make sure that those emails don't get just automatically deleted or unsubscribed?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, thank you so much for asking. Um, Here's the thing. You kind of just highlighted the way that email marketing works best and how to stand out in an inbox. You said, people sign up, they got my free gift, and then I kind of didn't communicate with them again. So, one of the best methods for you to increase your email open rate, for you to stand out in someone's inbox, is to continue to communicate with them. Now, that may sound strange, but there's a philosophy and a methodology I use called a welcome series. And think of it as like, okay, you got a free gift. So that was like your entry into a house party or something. So if you enter a house party and then the next thing you see is you're introduced to somebody and they're like, hey, buy my stuff, that's a little awkward. It's a little weird. But if you enter a house party and then, you say hi to people, you have a little small talk, you learn about them, and then you continue the relationship. So with a welcome series, what happens is you build that know, like, and trust factor, and you let your new reader know what you have to offer, what you do, right? If I get a gift, if I get a free gift from somebody, and let's say we'll do the fitness industry, a free gift on like the top 5 workouts for people who don't have a lot of time. Okay, that's a gift. Well, what else does that person do? Do they only create workout routines? I don't know. But if you send them a welcome series over a course of 5 to 7 emails and you kind of explain, okay, I help people make fitness fit into their life in a fast and easy method. It's really perfect for busy moms who've got, the corporate job and the kids and, right? So with a welcome series, you stand out because you give a very curated experience to brand new subscribers. So what you do is in those first few emails, you build anticipation. And what happens is if somebody opens your first email, okay, great, right? The open rate for like getting that gift is really really high. But then if they open another email and another email, and by the time they've opened 3 or 4 emails from you, you become somebody they look forward to seeing in their inbox because they know every time they open a message from you, they're going to get something valuable. They're going to have a good experience. You're going to give them value. As opposed to what happens for a lot of us, right? We get a new person and then they get put into whatever we're promoting currently or whatever the next email is I send out to everybody. And if you're, for example, at the end of your launch for a course that you've been talking about for 4 weeks and you have a new subscriber and the next email they get is, here's your gift. Oh, by the way, enrollment closes tomorrow. You're like, wait, what? What's going on? I'm confused. So with a welcome series, it kind of builds that relationship. It builds the know, like, and trust factor, and it gives people a small taste of what it's like to work with you over the course of a few emails.
Perfect. Yes, that sounds like definitely the one of the areas that I know I've done not perfect in the past. I know when I first started email marketing, and of course, this is a long time ago, and I jumped in, I got this great system to send out emails, but I was just out there sending an email when I had something that I wanted to, like an event, or, I was out there just putting out my agenda. And
Hmm.
I know it's so important to provide value and have your email be something that people really, like you said, look forward to. So I love that. I love the strategy that you have for your clients with that welcome series. And then it's hard segmenting, I know, is a key piece to that too. So then as you're getting those people into your system, making sure that you send them emails based on what they're interested in.
Absolutely. What they're interested in is it's what we like to call like the mom factor, right? If you get an email from mom, it's got a 100% open rate. So if somebody comes back from like vacation or they took a couple days off and they have to go in their inbox, what do? The most important part of the email is not the subject line, it's the from line. And that's when you're building the relationship. Because if you come back and you've got 500 unread messages because you've been gone for 3 days and you're scrolling, what do? You scroll to see who sent me a message. And then you want to be one of those people they stop on and say, oh, that person sent me a message. I know I usually like that. Let me see what the subject line is. Right. So you want to be that person that they stop scrolling for, that they anticipate your message for. Absolutely. You want to be that person they anticipate the message on. And with segmentation, like what you said, just kind of talking to your audience. What are you interested in? How can I help you? What do you want to hear more about? So that if you have an opportunity, but it's not a right fit for a particular part of your audience, you don't tell them about that opportunity. You curate their experience and they don't ever know it.
So you just said something that caught my attention, and I'm hoping that it caught the attention of our audience, because you said that the most important part of an email is not the subject line.
Yes.
Can you expand on that?
Absolutely. In the story I was telling, right, you come back from vacation. Like, let's say, remember a couple months ago, right? We were all coming back from the holidays, right? Most of us are probably like, we took a pause. Maybe it was after New Year's, and you get to your inbox, and just like what you described, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I hate looking through my inbox. There's so many emails. And that's really bad when you've come back of 4 days of not checking your inbox. So you come back and, oh gosh, there's 1,000 messages. What am I going to do? So what do people do? They scroll and they skim. And we're not looking at the subject lines first. We're looking at who sent me a message. Who do I need to prioritize first? And if you've become a trusted resource in someone's inbox and you build that through a welcome series and then delivering on your promises in your nurture sequence, but if you've done that, then you become one of those people stop for. If mom sends me a message, I'm going to make sure to read it and open it. If my best friend sends me a message, I'm going to make sure to stop and read it and open it, right? So you want to be one of those people they stop and open for. So people check from lines before they check subject lines. So if you become somebody who like, oh yeah, they sent me a message, great, let's see what it's about. Then they check the subject line. If it interests them, they open it. Even if it doesn't interest them, if you've become a trusted resource, half the time you're like, you know what, I'll see what they have to say. Okay, let me just go open it. Let me just go read it. So then you've got not only a place of importance in someone's inbox, right? You don't have to worry so much, because if you become a trusted resource, yes, your subject line is important, but that's something you're always going to be testing. But if you're the person they stop scrolling for, then you know that you're engaged and those people are interested in hearing from you.
That is so good, because I know there are so many strategies on subject lines. And I know that's one of the things I'm always, scrolling and looking at subject lines, because I want to find the next best subject line for my email.
Yes,
But that is almost irrelevant, because if I think about my experience, when I see an email from somebody I know, like, and trust, or that I find always provides value for me, I don't even care what the subject line says. So
exactly.
I totally love that mindset shift that I just got, and hopefully everybody else did, because that could be a real game changer if you're connecting on that level. And I know your strategies will help me do that with my audience, but if we're connecting on that level, then it just makes everything easier.
It does. And, the best way to do that is to tell people who you are.
Mm,
Be authentic.
yeah.
I'm going to say that again. Be authentic. Be yourself in your emails. One of the most common complaints I get from my clients is, here's what I do and here's how I help people and this is what I'm really focused on, but I don't know how to say that in marketing speak. And I say, stop. What you just said is exactly how you say that in marketing speak, because you need to be yourself. People are going to hire you. They want to work with you. They want to learn your methodology. They want to learn the way you talk about it in your course. And if the way you talk about it in your emails is completely different than the experience they're going to have when working with you as a coach, for example, then they're going to be really disappointed. and they're going to have a disconnect, and there's going to be a lack of trust. Because what they were expecting was completely different than what it was working with you in person. So your marketing needs to be a reflection of you, your values, and exactly how you talk about things.
So true. So true. I know there are certain people I get emails from that, I'm not their ideal client. I get a lot of, I get on a lot of lists just for research, but
Hmm.
I always read their emails because they are so full of life and personality that it's just really kind of really cool to see how clever they are with their emails. And I feel
Yes.
like I know them on like a personal level, even though I've never even met them or had a conversation with them, but they've given me like the insight to who they are as a person. And that's real great way to kind of build that online relationship.
Absolutely. Because we're all people, right? People
I
buy
know.
from people.
Yeah, well, honestly, yeah, that's exactly. And there's so many options out there, and that's one of the key pieces of why I feel story is so important in our business, because there are like people don't want to buy a product or a service. They want to buy you and the results you provide them. And
Absolutely.
once they know who you are on a personal level, and that's why I always start our interviews with story, because we want to connect. We're not robots. We want to connect on personal level. So I know you have a free gift. I know you have something you want to share. I know I'm excited to have your next workshop happening, which I know is coming soon. But in the meantime, I am going to sign up on your list and give your and get your guide on how to craft the perfect welcome series. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what that is?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, right, your welcome series is it's a tool you can use to build the know, like, and trust factor really fast. It's usually the first 5 to 7 emails. And so, what it is, it's the top 7 tips I have on writing the perfect welcome series to increase opens, engagements, clicks, and of course, ultimately sales. Because it all starts from message number one, right? And while people are like, well, no one opened my offer 4 months after they joined my list. And my question is, well, what was that very first experience, right? We know first impressions are hard to overcome. So why not make the best first impression possible? So even if you do kind of slack off and forget to email your list for a couple of weeks, they're still going to remember who you are because you made such an impact and such an impression in the beginning.
Oh, so good. All right. So the link for that free gift from Kimberly will be in the show notes below. In addition, all of her social media links are there and her website, so you can connect with her. It's been a pleasure, Kimberly, to continue to get to know you and to just learn from you today on the episode and everything you shared. It's been fun.
Thank you so much, Christy. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you and getting to know your style as well. And I look forward to staying connected.
Absolutely. And your podcast, we'll make sure that we have the link for your podcast as well in the show notes below, so our audience can make sure they can catch your episodes as you are sharing more about this whole topic of creating magnetic content.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams once they've learned the art of mastering their story. Mastering our stories is the key to everything we want in life. Our stories can either hold us back or they can propel us to new heights. We can choose. You can choose. Choose to overcome mediocrity with us. Let's achieve greatness together. To learn more, visit www.overcomingmediocrity.org. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast.